Radio check.
Radio check, radio check, radio check, radio check.
Five by 5.
Okay. Here, let's say, what's your problem here? You cannot take off from St. John's.
Well, I can take off
So what's the wind?
anyways.
I need to only mute live. And what's the wind at St. John's?
170 at 7 knots.
170 and 7. Which means it's wind coming from the south. You're not gonna use 1 feet runway or the 8500.
I'm going to use the runway 11.
So it's like longest one.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the longest one you're gonna get crosswinds. So no tailwind benefit.
How do I enable TO bump?
Yeah, in inland limit. I think it's supposed to be in inland limit.
It's not there.
It's not there. It's not in inland limit.
There's only D
It's
rates.
also possible. Yeah, there are only D rates. But I remembered there must be occasions that I saw the bump. It could be a package thing. Like, it's a package install option which you can, find it there.
I looked for it just
Yeah,
a minute
take some
ago,
look,
but I didn't find it.
Yeah, or even maybe
Is it this
if
one,
you-
short field package?
Yeah, it's possible.
It's default on
possible.
the 900 ER.
Yeah, so maybe you need to search to find the exact answer to this. But anyways, if you decide to take off, nonetheless, Niner, you need to use the full field length, right? You need to use the full field length.
Yeah, I'm going to take off anyways. I'm going to turn off the packs, turn off the anti-ice.
Yeah. So it's either 11 or 29er, but there are turnaround areas on those runways, right? You need to do the turnaround at the runway threshold. If you see the chart.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so you need to do it correctly. You need to turn onto, when you approach the runway threshold, you need to turn onto the turnaround pad first. Then you get onto the pad, you go till the end and you turn right to get onto the runway so that you can use the 4 lanes. Yeah, I can only describe it like this. Can you understand that?
Maybe.
Send you a picture. It's basically the techniques that's taught in FCT and all stuff. You need to turn on the pad first.
I'm going
the
to
pad
ask
only after.
I'm going to ask for pushback. In which direction? I guess I'll push back.
You need to push to north.
Yeah.
And take a look at the picture I sent to you. Yeah, take a look at the picture I sent to you.
There are some new push styles in the NGX update.
Okay. What I mean is that you need.
What is standard L, dot the I, and cross the T?
Standard I. Yeah, I don't understand that because I'm using GSX.
Last time when I was at Newark, I tried the cross the T. I guess this time I'll try dot the I.
I understand. I
think I understand that. Dot the I means fixing the position of the inner main gear. Maybe that's what it means.
So it's just like rotate the aircraft.
Yeah.
Okay. I cannot give you any information on that because I only use GSX, and I sent you a picture on the runway turnaround area. Basically, you need to get down to the area first.
I need to turn off the engine bleeds. Turn off the engine packs.
Yeah, and then you get to the runway threshold on the turnaround pad area. Then you turn right to turn onto the runway so that you have the full length available for takeoff. You cannot get onto the pad only after you reach the runway threshold. In that way, you're gonna have less available lengths for takeoff, basically. Yeah, I'm sure you understand. But that could be important.
Go ahead. We've been cleared for pushback and start.
I need to ask the guys from Anchorage LTCC about the radar coverage problem.
I'm going to set the
brakes released.
Cruising altitude. The pressurization system on the 737 is only half automatic.
Brakes released, here we go.
Okay. Do you think you're gonna continue talking and walking through the procedure here?
Okay.
If so, I'm gonna have to mute. Are you gonna do that, or? Because if you do that,
I'm going to talk through it.
Okay, you're gonna talk through it. I'm just gonna mute him momentarily. I will be right back.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna talk to the Anchorage guys.
You're gonna talk to them on voice or text?
I'm gonna mute my mic as well. And you hear me 5 is good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I can mute my mic and it shouldn't be a problem.
The lights here is not very bright. Starting engine number 1. Pushback is completed.
Pushback complete. Parking brake, please.
Parking brake set.
Brake set.
The full takeoff taxi checklist. Flaps 5.
Alright, steering pin is disconnected. Watch for the slip release from guidance on your left. Have a good flight.
Flight control test. Full left, full right, neutral. Full up, full down, neutral, rudder, full left, full right, neutral, checked. Checklist completed. Starting the taxi. I'm going to load the wind. We're going to taxi via Gulf, runway 34 onto runway 11. I'm gonna load the wind. Okay, when we arrive, we will have 7.4 thousand pounds of fuel left, which is quite plenty. That's plenty of fuel. We're going to step climb to flight level 350. Made a wrong turn. We'll taxi onto the runway just ahead of us. It's quite difficult taxiing at night at a airport that you are unfamiliar with. It's also quite dangerous. Now we're on the runway. The taxi fuel is quite hot. Well, there's nothing we can do about it. Alright, almost forgot. Turn off APU. Approaching the active runway. Landing lines. taxiing onto the active runway. St. John's traffic, United 2108 taxiing onto runway 11 for takeoff. Fun fact, flaps 5 yields the best performance for takeoff. Okay, we're going to use full thrust for takeoff. Taxiing to the end of the runway. Taxi onto the turnaround pad. Okay, takeoff checklist. Engine mode selector, continuous. Packs are off. Flaps 15. Takeoff checklist completed. Okay, we are going to take off. Can't really see the toggle button. We're going to turn off the floodlights. Go. Take off. Thrust set. flaps are retracted, landing lights off. Checklist completed. Auto brake off. Now on climb phase, we're going to direct to Minsk.
Hey, radio check. You're back. Hey, radio check. You're back.
Radio check.
check.
Radio check. Radio check.
I read you 6. I read you 6. Yeah, I just got back.
One problem, I forgot to change the title of the street.
Like,
The titles are now Newark to St. John's, not St. John's to Minsk.
yeah, I can change the title right here, actually. Well, let me try this. St. John's to
You can change the
Minsk.
title.
It's still United.
Both on
Still United.
both on Twitch and YouTube. You need to change titles.
It's still United 739.
Yeah,
739.
yeah.
It's 900, so why don't you have the short field?
Yeah, 900ER has the short field. I think because the thrust is not strong enough, so they will have to install the short field performance package
Okay.
onto that.
Yeah, because they could get heavier. You mean like the ER? Is it like a fuel tank modification that would cause it to get heavier?
Today I took off with I think 187,000 pounds of takeoff weight.
You use the full field lens.
Yeah, I used the full field lens. I almost couldn't make it. I just rotated before the runway ends.
Wow.
The 739 requires a very long runway to take off properly.
And don't forget you are almost hitting the maximum range for it.
Yeah.
Transatlantic. You're doing a transatlantic on a 739, and it's not like Gander to St. John. So not like Gander to Shannon.
Well, it's eastward.
It's too.
Eastwards transatlantic, so it's not very, very hard for this aircraft. Plus, I didn't use any extra fuel tanks. I didn't use any auxiliary fuel tanks. I'm just using the original one on board. I could add
payload.
I could add 2 additional fuel tanks if I want. But the maximum takeoff weight was the limiting factor, anyways.
Yeah, I could feel that much. It's Gander. It's not the longest runway in the world, but do you have any payload?
Hardly any.
Is that the reason why most aircraft choose to go to Gander when they have emergency instead of St. John's?
The master alarm is. I've got a cabin altitude alarm.
You cabin altitude alarm. Okay, put your mask on. Put your mask on. Indication. No. Is there snow?
I
Pressure?
don't think so. I didn't know.
Did you? Was your packs on?
Yeah.
Turn them
But
to
the
side.
duct
Did you need to rush through?
the duct press is at 0. I don't know why it's that. And it's,
Yeah. Do you need to rush through the carriage? You need to rush through the carriage. First of all, you got your mask on, right?
Yeah, I don't have the QR. In fact, I don't think it's a failure. It's more like a
Agent failure, you think?
it's like the bleeds are off, but they shouldn't be off. They should be on.
It's like a bug.
Perhaps.
Not rush the carriage.
Perhaps I took off with no packs, and the packs didn't enable themselves, I guess.
There's still no down pressure. Courage. Is the passenger oxygen
Wait a
already?
minute, let me try manual mode and close the valve, open the valve. Does it work?
Take a look at the gauge. Take a look at the gauge down there. There's this cabin climb. It's right next to it.
Cabin climb is rising, but it shouldn't be rising. It should be
down, going down. And what is the
cabin climb rate is positive, but it shouldn't be positive. Should I level off? I think I should level
I'm
off.
not sure. Is the passenger oxygen masks out? Maybe
I could level off, but I think I will.
You're already at the cruise altitude.
The leads aren't working. Let me turn on the APU.
Yeah, that may be a good idea. Are the passenger masks out?
I think they are. Is there a knob for that?
The passenger oxygen is not. Passenger oxygen right there is not on. Doesn't you need to turn it on? No. Or maybe you need to check the cabin altitude first. Do you need to check the cabin altitude first?
Cabin altitude is
rising?
16,000 feet. I turned on the APU bleed, but it's still not working. Let me check if there is a failure. No active failures.
Cabin altitude, I think at this rate, maybe you need to drop the oxygen masks.
I think they're out automatically. I need to counter this.
But the light did not. They don't illuminate. Why is there? There's no light. There should be a oxygen on.
I think it's back online.
Oh my god. What did you do? APU?
I pressed the trip reset button and it's okay.
Trip reset button? You mean where is this button?
It's on the lead panel.
Oh.
It said trip off, and I pressed the trip reset button and it went back online.
Where did it
is descending?
Okay, where did it say trip off?
Here. There are 3 lights in a row. The bottom one.
Bleed trip off. Oh,
It said
maybe
trip
in
off.
that case, maybe. Yeah, in that case, maybe
It
we should have.
used to be like this.
Yeah, it used to be like this. So maybe in this case we
It's like
we
this
might have
again.
reset again.
Yeah, I reset it
In that
again.
case, I think
If I turn
rising
off the pack, it says that. If I turn on the pack again, I think I can go high
Yeah.
mode. I think it's already on high mode.
it's really a high
Just
mode.
leave it on auto, I think.
Yeah, I think what we really should have done is we should have ran through the QRH.
Cabin altitude is near 1,000 feet, right? 10,000 feet. It's near 10,000.
Okay. It's dropping out. That's a good sign. I think probably what we should have done is to run through the checklist. But yeah, we're gonna have to run through the emergency descent checklist first. Trying to yeah,
maybe
bring out the
maybe
checklist.
there's something with that no air conditioning takeoff. Maybe it's a normal procedure to press the trip reset button. I mean,
Yeah,
the button is
that's
there
also
for a reason.
possible.
The button is there for a reason.
Like, if there is a light, it should be a problem. But like, if there is a light, trip reset light, is there gonna be a master portion in your?
I think it's all right now. The cabin altitude is descending.
Yeah, I mean, earlier when you have the trip resets light illuminated, did you have any master portion light associated with it?
No master caution light, but there is the cabin altitude siren.
That's really weird. Like,
The cabin altitude, the cabin altitude siren is still on, but I cut it off manually. You see the light is still on.
It probably won't stop until you have reached like 8,000 feet.
The cabin altitude is descending. So I think if it keeps its descent, it'll be okay.
Yeah, it eventually will.
It'll be okay.
Yeah, like if during your climb the trip reset light was illuminated, but you have no master caution light. Then
Yeah, no master caution light.
No idea
I didn't think it was a problem. I thought it was normal, but apparently it
it
isn't.
will only if you take a look at if you take a look on the overhead panel, then you could find the problem.
Yeah. But I know it had something to do with the cabin altitude.
Yeah.
I think when the cabin altitude reaches like 8,000, the alarm will go off. The light
Yeah,
will
maybe we should have ran through the checklist. The checklist would ask for emergency descent first, then lead system. But the first thing first, put on the mask. Sure of that. So I asked about the mask right away.
Well, it's
Like,
a
you need to do that,
simulation,
but-
so the mask is kind of unnecessary.
What's the simulation? I always test the mask before I depart. Don't you do that?
Yeah, that's part of the pre-flight checklist.
Yeah, and also putting on the mask was the first item on any of the cabin altitude
The cabin
emergency
altitude,
checklist.
the cabin altitude alarm is gone now. I think it's all right.
Yeah, like cabin altitude warning, 737 quick reference handbook, cabin altitude warning. The oxygen mask set regulator is 100%.
Now let's
Emergency
see when
descent.
can I climb to 50350. The current max altitude is 343.
Okay, yeah, this is the thing with 737. It used to be very much lower. Yeah, I'm now looking at the QRH quick reference handbook. It says that the first thing you do after you get your masks on, indeed, is to control the outflow valve manually. So that was correct what you did. Wow, manually. It's no word you consider emergency descent.
The automation on the 737 is minimal, I think.
Okay, someone from Anchorage just replied.
There are a lot of things on the 737 that you have to do manually, like tuning in the RLS frequency on both sides, and there is a pause button on the MCP that you have to turn yourself. Also, the VORs are automatically tuned. You have to tune in the VOR also. And there is, speaking of that, I haven't. I think I haven't put the landing gear on the off position.
Yeah, so it wasn't.
Yeah, the landing gear was at up position. It should be in off position.
Yeah, it should be in off position. And I used to flew 737. 737 was my
That's why I
first
don't
add-on
like
aircraft.
737. I think when it's daytime, it's quite obvious to see that the landing gear is up, but
Yeah.
at night it is quite easily ignored.
Yeah, I understand.
I mean,
All the
it's on
items
the
are the-
checklist, after takeoff checklist, landing gear off. But I remembered it as landing gear up, so I didn't bother to look.
Yeah. You know, 737 was the first add-on aircraft I used when I was back on FSX. But the problem is, yeah, when I got back here, I haven't flew it like for a year, and when I got back to it, I forgot a lot of stuff. Like there was one that I did not turn the APU generator. I did not turn the engine generator on. Like you need to turn the generators manually on.
The power is going to
Yeah, I did not. Yeah,
That happened when I flew my first flight on this aircraft yesterday from San Francisco to Newark.
yeah.
But I quickly turned on the engine generator, and the data in the FMC wasn't lost, which was fortunate.
Yeah, quickly turn it on. Like you need to manually turn on the engine generator. I forgot that. When I shut off the APU and the power immediately went out. It did not have to realign.
All Boeing aircrafts are quite similar, from the 737 to the 787. They're all quite similar. The logic behind it is quite similar.
Yeah, but for the later aircraft, you do not have to control the electric system like manually.
Yeah, that's true.
Using
I think,
switches.
if I remember correctly, the 757 also didn't require you to control all that systems to that extent. The automation is better. Automation is better on the 747, 757, and 767. 737 is is the I think is the least automated modern Boeing aircraft.
Like the aircraft that's still produced, it's the least automated, but for the MAX as well, because the MAX
is also not very automated. The MAX also requires you to manually switch on the generators. It also requires you to, I think it also requires you to set your cruising altitude for the pressurization to work properly. And it also requires you to. There are a lot of things that you still have to do, but the landing gear is only has automated. 2 positions on the MAX, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think it actually has a lot of things to do with the space, because
I think so.
This 3-position gear handle, it takes a lot of space, the panel space.
Yeah, it's actually
the MAX,
an option.
You have larger screens.
It's an option. On early models of the 747-400, it used to be 3 positions, but on later models of the 747-400, it can be 2 positions. It's a optional choice.
It's just like radio, just like the radio panel.
Yeah.
And also the transponder panel, transponder code selector. There are those options.
Yeah,
which
you can
use a
push
keyboard,
the buttons, or you can turn the knobs.
Use the knob. Yeah. Anchorage told me that area was radar. Oh, it was non-radar, which is pretty much what I guessed. Yeah.
But there's
pretty
no
much
ATC.
What I guessed, you know.
Is there any ATC? Will there be any ATC?
I asked that guy. I asked their EC. I asked their EC. The EC said yes, all right. But I don't think there's really any guarantee, you know, because I can pretty much see that there are.
It's better for
That's
me.
what I can see.
It's better for me if there's no ATC because I should be asleep at that time.
Let's just see. I think it all depends on luck. Like I'm sure they are short of staff. They're short of staff because
Yeah,
most
because
of those guys they're
the Anchorage and Honolulu combined, they
yeah. They combine, and most of them they're from Honolulu, not Anchorage. Otherwise, I should be getting these answers.
yeah, I remember one
a lot
time
easier.
I flew. Anchorage used to have lots of events, but not very much nowadays.
Not very much nowadays, and I think it also has to do with the general population. With Alaska so sparsely populated, yeah. But I think there should be more controllers from the lower 48 states to join Anchorage.
I used to fly the Concorde from Seattle to Anchorage. There was one time.
I think there should be more controllers from the lower 48 states joining,
Yeah.
because it's a big airspace and there are a lot of unique procedures. They should love it. I don't know why it's no one joining them, because for the US there are like 3 oceanic airspaces. New
It
York
should be allowed, though.
Oakland.
I think it's allowed.
Yeah, New York, Oakland, and Anchorage. Like, I'm not sure, but Anchorage will be the gateway for most of the North America to Asia flights,
well,
which there are a lot.
Isn't it allowed right now? So
I'm not sure if it's allowed.
I
you
think
you,
it
you
is
think you
allowed.
will ask them? I can invite you into the Discord. I've been talking too much, way too much. You said we should not talk too much when we first get into a discussion group. The problem with Oakland is
one
that it's
question,
really
who controls the Puerto Rican airspace?
Puerto Rican.
Is there
It's
a
kind of
separate
VATSIM
division?
USA. I don't think there's really a separate division. I think it's either part of the VAT USA or a part of the Caribbean division. I don't think it's really separate. But there were FNOs to Puerto Rico, so I guess it at least in some ways related to VAT USA, which is in contrary to the case with Hong Kong.
But does VATSIM UK controls all of its overseas territory?
Like there are really not a lot of overseas territory for the
there is,
USA UK guys.
Bermuda and Diego Garcia and Saint Helena.
Yeah, for Bermuda, I think New York controls that. For Diego Garcia, I think there's no controller. No one ever flies there.
Yeah.
On Saint Helena, I think there's no one as well. Yeah, New York.
What about
Bermuda,
French Guiana? What about French Guiana?
Yeah, I think those areas like French Guiana and the Antilles, they have their local controller. It's called a VATSIR, SUR.
Oh yeah, they
Right,
had
that's
an
what-
event about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and the Greenland is controlled by the Nordic controllers. Greenland is controlled by VATSIM Scandinavia, which includes Denmark as well.
Well, yeah.
Just by the way, Anchorage Center is not online, right? That's why I was able to get a hold on to them. It's really a rarity to see Anchorage Center online.
Well, it wasn't very rare a few years ago, but I guess it
Back in the day. Yeah, but it was kind of rare back then as well, because we flew a lot of like westbound flights in from the US, North America to Asia, but there was
I
never
think the
like
times were not right. Maybe they were online on different times than we were flying.
Yeah, but I think if they live in Alaska, then the time should be right, because we flew westbound And the sunset, how the sunset is also westbound. Like the
Well,
time
we
in
don't
Alaska
know
is
about
earlier.
that. And also,
It's
the day of week, I think it also matters. Maybe we flew during
Saturday.
weekdays. Saturday. Okay.
Oh, we flew Saturday, mostly Saturday. But yeah, you could be right. We don't know if they live in
I
Alaska. If
think
they live in Alaska,
once you flew from Edinburgh to Anchorage, I think.
flew one time from Anchorage to Edinburgh. One time
Oh.
from Anchorage to Edinburgh. Just as you speak, the Scottish control was online now. So both Anchorage and Edinburgh are now controlled. The Scottish control just got online in 1 second. Wow. Did you foresee that?
No. What was the
Then
flight plan route like on your flight?
we just crossed Edinburgh. We just crossed Edinburgh. Let me tell you this. We just crossed Edinburgh. So you're going to be happy, but you also want to fly faster. Because this guy could be offline.
I don't think I should be flying faster though, for fuel saving reasons.
Yeah, you're in a 737.
The fuel is not very sufficient. It's only enough, but it's not like there's not a lot of extras.
If I'm flying this kind of route during night with no ATC in a 777 with then Edinburgh Scottish control suddenly jumps online, I'm gonna immediately set my MCP speed to 0.875.
I don't think that he will be online for a long time though. It's like it's 2 a.m. in the Scottish times.
This guy's server is Singapore.
Oh.
Think about that.
But I wouldn't be in time anyways. The 737 cannot fly very fast.
Yeah, you know that there are some controllers who stay online for 6 hours, so you could only hope.
It wouldn't make a big difference. If I fly 0.81, I would only be early for.
Yeah. So maybe you can stay at your current speed.
Yeah, it doesn't make a big difference.
Stay at your current speed. You stay at your current Mach speed and you pray. That's what you're gonna do.
I would be in Scottish airspace in. Let me check. 0426 Zulu. So
the route is gonna take you.
Yeah, I'm going to be in the airspace in about 3 hours.
Check Nippet. Waypoint Nippet is on the Northern Ireland.
Yeah, I checked
Ireland.
that. It says 0426 Zulu.
Okay, 0426. So it's only like less than 3 hours. There are tailwinds. So you have. Yeah. So there's like. Yeah. Currently it's 01 Zulu. Currently it's 0145 Zulu, and he just got online. You still have your chances. Your chances are not like zero. That's what I can say.
Yeah.
Not like zero. Plus, there are plenty of aircrafts inbound or R0. Not a lot. Aircraft inbound.
Hey, how did you plan this route?
I just did my thing. I checked two options. The second option would be not going through Scotland, because for the UK there's no FRA, there's no free route airspace.
Yeah.
For the UK there's no free route airspace. There's no free route airspace for UK, which means you cannot do any direct flights, any UPR like you can do in Northern Germany or Netherlands. You can only fly published routes in the UK, and the routes are kind of limited, and your direction is not that good. You know, there are a lot of routes crossing the central part of the British Isle, like, you know, from the Dublin to Manchester, that direction, to Amsterdam. You know, those routes?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
a big chunk of routes
to
there.
Cross the Scottish airspace instead of the.
There were a lot of options. So those are the main routes used by the European
Those
flights.
routes are
European.
too much to the south for our flight.
Yeah. Those flights are mostly for European flights to NAT. They use it a lot. Edinburgh, Manchester, Amsterdam direction, a lot of them. But I did try that. Well, I did try them. I tried two options, going through them. It will take like 5 more minutes and significantly longer. That's with a lot of direct flights within the Dutch airspace.
Yeah.
With a lot of direct flights, it takes longer. It's not impossible though. It's possible, but this is better.
The winds are more
Possible, the northern
favorable
route is
at
better.
higher altitudes, but I cannot climb to higher altitudes.
I planned this wing via flight level 350. The Skybacter does not support step climb. You can only
Hey,
enter the wing at
do you
a
think I
particular.
can climb to flight level 340?
You are not on a track,
Yeah.
which does not mean that you can absolutely not use any of the even flight levels.
Well, but the maximum, the max cruising level is going to.
Yeah, I understand. You want to fly a even flight level, but you're not on a track. I'm saying it's not absolutely impossible because, from my experience reading the North Atlantic procedures and AIPs, there was this possibility. But there are a lot of
but
stuff.
I can climb to higher
constraining.
altitudes in a moment, anyways, so I wouldn't bother.
Do you still want to see the even flight level availability?
Yeah.
I have this document from NAP Canada.
I think
They
I
have a
can
lot
climb
of.
to flight level 350 in about
They have a lot.
20 minutes. It will be available for me.
They have a lot of those really complex procedures about the flight level assignment in the NAT HLA. Which I think
is
includes the
H5040 the same as November 5040?
H5040 is the same as November 5040. It's a half degree latitude waypoint.
Half degree, but which one is better?
I mean, now currently the ARIC data, they're using H5040. That's why you're getting this on your flight computer right now. Some charts are still using November 5040. Basically, the H is to avoid any confusion because the ICAO published a report saying that most of the gross navigation error or GNEs happening in the North Atlantic airspace are caused by this half latitude waypoint problem.
But I think
so
the pilots know the difference. I mean, the normal ones are like 5040 November instead of November 5040. They should be aware of that.
Yes, they should be aware of that. But those, if the report is correct, those gross navigation errors are still happening. That should mean that, there are pilots mistaking it. I think the report says this happens particularly during route amendments asked by ATC. When the ATC asks for route amendments, you have to put the waypoint in ad hoc on your FMC, and that causes problem.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Also, why is there only one NAT track for flights in the real world?
COVID.
But they can still plan more tracks for the aircraft to use. If they only have one track, the options will be limited. Because not all aircraft, not all flights fly through that NAT route. There could be some flights in the south. There could be flights more to the north. They couldn't all use one NAT route.
right?
Yeah, I mean, in any circumstances, there should be more than one NAT route. One is just not quite enough.
Yeah. I think most of the aircraft in the real world are going to use random routing now. But for the one track, a lot of the air traffic control centers are shutting down because they have registered infections.
Yeah.
It could be the same case with Gander.
The
If they
current
have
NAT
a
route,
short of
I think it's only viable for flights from the northeast of United States to London, Amsterdam, or Paris, Frankfurt.
Yeah. I think there were air traffic control centers shutting down due to COVID infections. They had to shut down the New York Arts. They had to shut down the New York Arts for one night, causing what's known as ATC0, no control, airspace shutdowns, so that they could clean the facility up. So there could be like similar problems in Gander, like staff shortage, so that they cannot plan many tracks.
It's possible.
Yeah, but it also could be possible that they just think one is enough, and other aircraft they're just gonna fly via random routes.
Hey,
The other aircraft
my head-up display is functional right now. My head-up display is.
That's great. Like
it was a DLL.xml file problem. The file header was corrupt, and I manually changed that, and it was working.
Okay, mine was good though.
Maybe I think maybe it has something to do that I'm not using an English operating system, the language.
Yeah, it's possible. You can try changing the display language for non-Unicode supported software in the control.
Yeah, but
back to NAT, that was what they trying to do. I think they think that one track is enough because there was such little traffic over the North Atlantic. Maybe most aircraft can plan random, and even if they all plan random and cross the track, there's no problem because there's so few aircraft.
I mean, this St. John's to Minsk flight was, it was random routing.
It's random routing.
Did you change the titles on Twitch and YouTube?
I changed the title on Twitch. Let me check on YouTube for now. And
there are still no viewers. But there should be. We now have 4 subscribers.
That's good.
On Twitch, but not more. I think last time we gained subscribers, it was on Saturday. So maybe next Saturday we will have more subscribers.
Yeah, that is possible. We use the Scottish route option. Yeah, it's more close to the Great Star Circle. We're gonna cross the Scottish.
Have you planned a route from Mumbai to? Also, which airport are we going to fly in Greece?
Yeah, I'm actually not that certain about that. Do you like Crete? Do you like the island of Crete? Or Kos?
Kos is a smaller island, right?
It's a small island. Crete is a larger island.
I think I need a longer runway because the aircraft, the 739, it couldn't handle short runways very nicely.
Yeah, the Kos runway is also pretty long, but the Crete runways can be longer.
Which scenery is better? I think I'll choose the better scenery.
That's that larger difference. The Crete runway is just short of 9,000 feet, and
which scenery is better?
The Kos. That I haven't checked yet.
Airport scenery.
Haven't checked yet.
I think you should check that.
I really had no time to check. Because I was busy planning for the event this Saturday. I think maybe you have to check. check on that.
Yeah, I'll
Because
go
I
check
was
on
really
that.
preoccupied.
I'll go check on that. And
Also, about the
I
runway
should also
lanes.
grab the Mumbai airport scenery, right?
Yeah, I understand. There's only like 1,000 feet difference in the lanes.
I think well, if they are both over 8,000, then it's not that big of an issue. Because the 737, I think the NGX update, in the update they made the aerodynamics more realistic, and the brakings are not as effective as before. When I landed the 739-900 at Newark, I nearly ran out of the runway lengths when I was landing on runway 22 left. I mean,
there's
the threshold was long. The glide path landing length was about 7,000 feet, but I used Auto Brake 1. Auto Brake 1 was really not effective. The braking were minimal. I think I should at least use Auto Brake 2 in the future. Auto Brake 1 should be avoided because it's not effective. Even on a long runway, you can risk running overruns. It's just not worth it.
There was a lot. Yeah, there was a lot of that called the runway threshold. What's that called again?
What was what called?
Display threshold. There's a lot of display threshold in Newark 22 lab, right?
Yeah, also on 22 right. Both runways.
Yeah, but the 22 left display threshold was longer, right?
Yeah, and 22 left is.
I think so.
It's shorter in length as well.
Yeah, and the
available landing length is the same on both runways. Do you have the charts right now? I can give you a.
I do have the charts. They have like a lot of displacement of the threshold, which I guess is for the freeway.
I can understand why they use display threshold on the north, but I really cannot understand why they put a lot of threshold in the south. I don't see any apparent reason why they need that.
I think Newark is surrounded by freeway. You know, I think the airport is surrounded by freeways, like at 4 sides, or at 3 sides at least.
Yeah, but you see, they don't have any display threshold on runway 1129. Is it because the runway is already very short and they cannot?
Yeah, that is possible. Yeah, that's possible. What I know for sure is that to the north side of the airport, there's freeway. There is a large freeway running to the north of the airport, which is I-78. Yeah, I-78. So that could be one of the reasons. Toll plaza.
Fun fact.
A huge toll plaza.
Fun fact.
Just to the north.
In Newark, when the wind is westerly and it is very strong, they usually assign even wide bodies to runway 29 for arrival runway.
Yeah, that's gonna be kind of.
There are lots of videos on YouTube of 777s or even 747s landing on runway 29 in Newark.
Yeah, the N90 airspace is really so congested. But in the case of New York,
I think mainly it's because of the winds. I don't know
yeah,
why, but
mainly because
there are lots of some circumstances when they land on runway 29.
Yeah, they need to decide. They need to decide. Like, you don't want the crosswind to get too strong.
Yeah, I think I mean the runway is there for a reason. The winds can go up to 25 knots on the direction.
The runways I mean, the airport is really surrounded by freeways on all four sides.
Yeah,
The
I think
the
that's a good
Tutu
reason.
landing end of Tutu is close to freeway, but actually 29er and 11 is actually closer to freeways, especially 29er. 29er is right next to the shoulder of I-95.
Yeah, but the runway is already
If you
very
see it in the
short.
map.
The runway is already very short, so they cannot afford
Yeah,
to
yeah, I
shorten it
understand that.
further.
That could be kind of weird and also kind of nerve-wracking for aircrafts because they're gonna overfly I-95 just before they land at 29er. And the I-95 actually have this viaduct is actually elevated. It's actually elevated just before 29er threshold.
Yeah, the same story at JFK. The landing distance is very short on the runways.
Yeah, but actually the freeway is much closer in New York. JFK the runway threshold mostly
I just
mostly
checked
water.
the chart of JFK. There are also a lot of
Yeah.
displaced threshold on the runways.
Yeah.
Lots of them.
Yeah.
Of them.
You up like 3-1 left. 3-1 left.
3-1 left and 1-3 right and 2-2 right, especially 2-2 right. They cut the runway like a 4/3 of its available length.
Yeah, I think it's possible because they want to use crosswind runways.
Yeah, maybe.
Reason?
So they can they can land on 2-2 right and still take off from 3-1 right.
Because when we did the event last week, we flew from John F. Kennedy to Bangkok. We were using the longest runway, 1-2 right for departure to Bangkok for the wide bodies, but they were putting aircraft down on runway 2-2 left, 4 right, the short runway on the east.
Yeah, the runway is short, but it doesn't have displaced threshold.
Yeah, and it does have an IRS. Not like 2-2 left.
In fact, I think the most preferred runway of arrival in JFK is that runway, 4 right / left.
Yeah, I think so.
Its taxiways are all rapid exit taxiways. All taxiways leading to that runway are rapid exits, and it has the biggest approach lights.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it also has a Cat 3 ILS.
Equipments.
Yeah. Only that runway has Cat 3. Only that runway has Cat 3. So I think it's the most preferred runway for arrival.
Yeah, the displacement really had to be caused by the use of crosswind runways. Maybe they want to get enough vertical clearance, so they use the displaced threshold to get the vertical clearance for aircraft landing to the left. Landing 3-1 left.
In fact,
but
the runway is very frequently used, even for A380s on the shorter runway.
Okay.
I remember Lufthansa A380, Air France A380, and Singapore A380 all landed on the short runway because it's the preferred landing runway. I think at one time Lufthansa requested another runway for landing. In fact, the story here is very interesting. The wind was around 310 at 20 knots. So when you land on runway 22 left, you will have a 20 knots crosswind. And on that day, the A380 for Lufthansa was too heavy for the short runway, and they asked for 3-1 left, and they didn't give him that, and the aircraft had to divert to Dulles.
That was so ugly.
The New York airspace is very congested, I think.
Yeah. The good thing about JFK is at least there's no runway directly stuffed between freeways. Like all the runway sections, almost all of them, almost all of them are facing water or like wetland, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's not gonna be flying over a freeway like the case in New York, in New York's 29, which is crazy.
I think there are a lot of examples of runway.
Stuffed between freeways.
Yeah, especially
Yeah,
the runways. The airports located in city centers.
actually, you know,
You can check
for
Itami Airport.
LaGuardia.
Itami Airport or
Yeah. LaGuardia, for LaGuardia, three runways are facing water. One is facing a freeway.
LaGuardia
runway
has
4 is
three
facing.
runways. I think it. Oh, I think it
I
only
mean,
has two runways.
three thresholds. Three thresholds are facing water, and
Yeah.
one last one. The last one, 4, is facing the Grand Central Parkway.
Hey,
The other
quick
three
question.
are facing East River.
What do you think is the biggest aircraft that can go to LaGuardia?
The 777-200 can go to LaGuardia. This is what I know because 777-200 has scheduled flights to 6,000 feet airport.
To where?
6,000 feet airport. Mayotte. We talked about this. Mayotte, a French territory on the Indian Ocean.
Yeah, but
You remembered?
but yeah, I remember it. But it has nothing
They
to
changed
do
it
with
to
LaGuardia.
77 now.
I mean, yes, the runway is shorter, but I think in LaGuardia the parking space is very limited. I think the biggest.
Yeah, you mean the parking space.
The biggest aircraft that has scheduled flight to LaGuardia is a 767-400ER, and before that there used to be L1011s and the DC-10s flying to LaGuardia.
Yeah, but back then I think the parking spots configuration are gonna be different.
Yeah, maybe, but there still
Because
is 767s flying to LaGuardia.
Yeah, I understand. You know, I barely ever considered the parking spot size because if you really want to consider the parking spot size, you also need to control a lot of different stuff size, including the tug size, catering vehicle size, stair size, all the stuff, and the ability of the aircraft to get to handle so much passengers. So that's operationally speaking, like it's gonna get difficult.
Do you think the 777-200 can fly to LaGuardia though?
So to keep it easy, I often only think about the runway lengths, and in terms of runway lengths, it's possible.
I mean the
6,000 feet.
There are 767-400s. Well, maybe the 777 is wider, don't you think?
Yeah, maybe it's wider. It can land in an emergency. That's what I believe. Like,
I mean, the
taxiway
767 is definitely longer than a 777-200, but maybe the width is the limiting factor here. I mean, maybe the 777-200, the original configuration, without any suffix. I mean, just the 777-200, maybe it can fly to LaGuardia, but maybe 777-200ERs or LRs, they cannot fly to LaGuardia because they have wider wings. They have the wingtip, but the original 200 didn't have the wingtip. Maybe we should look it up, the 777 wingspan.
Like, if you consider the wing clearance, the parking spot clearance, then it's gonna be very limiting. Just purely runway lengths.
I just looked it up. The 767-400 has a wingspan of 170 feet. And let me check the 777-200. It has a wingspan of 199 feet. So it's definitely a lot wider than the 767.
Yeah. 777 flies to Mayotte. The code is FMCZ, the airport.
Yeah, I
CZ,
once checked that. I think I flew
yeah,
there
the
once.
airport.
I flew there
The
once with
airport
the
was
MD-11. I used to fly the
the airport.
MD-11 in the Indian Ocean.
The airport was really limited in size as well. Like it has no main taxiway.
Yeah, but it has not a lot of flights, unlike LaGuardia. In LaGuardia,
Yeah.
I think there are
LaGuardia is a lot
lots
of flights.
of similar airports like LaGuardia in the United States, like
Yeah.
Washington. What is it called? Reagan Airport.
Washington D.C. Reagan Airport, Reagan National,
And
and also you could say Orange County,
yeah, Orange County.
Anaheim,
Orange County doesn't
Anaheim,
have no. Our
John Wayne.
Orange County is for general aviation mainly, not for commercial flights.
I mean John Wayne in Anaheim, John Wayne Airport, Southwest base.
John Wayne.
SNA, Santa Ana.
Yeah, but
SNA, Santa Ana.
that's for general aviation mainly, not for commercial mainly.
It's not for general aviation. It's for commercial. It's John Wayne.
Yeah.
John Wayne,
But
SNA.
John Wayne is like combined. It has a terminal, but half of its space is dedicated to general aviation.
Yeah, half is general aviation, but half is terminal as well. Like there are a lot of gates.
Yeah,
The terminal looks pretty large.
That's true.
Maybe
we can
it's
count that.
Not like some small airport. Yeah, it's not like maybe a small airport with only a few gates. It's like a big.
There is also Midway and Dallas Love Field and Houston Hobby.
Like John Wayne is not like some airports like BFI or Chicago Rockford, where only one of those low cost carriers fly to. John Wayne is like a full-fledged airport with 737 and stuff, like from United and Southwest. Those are the big carriers, right?
But Southwest is not exactly a big carrier because they have a lot.
But United.
Yeah, United is a big carrier.
United is there. United is there.
Dallas Love Field and Houston Hobby as their hub airports.
Yeah, United is there. United is there, and it's not the United Connection or SkyWest or that kind of stuff. It's United.
I think the airports in the United States is going through a phase of demolishing crosswind runways. You can see the chart of Dallas Love Field. They used to have a crosswind runway, but it's no longer the case.
Yeah, that's interesting. But they're still keeping the configuration at O'Hare, or are they gonna demolish that?
O'Hare is also demolishing crosswind runways. It's mainly now east to west, with only two parallel. Yeah, let me check O'Hare. O'Hare is changing very frequently. You can see Dallas Love Field. They used to have the taxiway Echo used to be a runway. It used to be a runway in 2015, but it's no longer the case right now.
Like crosswind runways are only only useful when it's like. But I guess you can't always say that. It could be useful. It could be useful during departure if we fly really heavy aircraft, like intercontinental. It could be useful. It could be useful in the scenario when there's like this airport has frequently changing winds. It could be useful if the wind prevailing, the direction is very clear. There's clear prevailing wind directions, and you can demolish them.
O'Hare now has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It has 7 runways. It used to have 8 runways, but they maybe they are renovating the runway 9 center. I think they're renovating runway 9 center.
can you just put on a notice saying that we're gonna do the route planning session just after the flight ends at what Zulu time?
What was that?
Put on a notice on your screen overlay there, saying that we're gonna do the flight planning session after you land at Minsk at whatever Zulu time.
What exactly should I put?
Maybe just put like quote, event, flight, route planning session for the event. We land at whatever time.
I mean,
Does that
after
sound good?
after landing in Minsk.
After landing, after landing in Minsk or after landing at what time? And stay tuned, I guess.
I don't have time after I land in Minsk. I have to.
You think
I have to go to the grocery store.
Are you gonna be free tonight? In the evening?
I think so. I'll be free tonight. I'm considering doing the flight from Minsk to Mumbai today, but if I land before 07 Zulu, maybe I'll have time to prepare for the flight to Mumbai, and when I come back I will land at Mumbai, but I think the time is not sufficient enough.
Yeah, I don't know. Whenever I think the route planning will be a high priority item, but we can do it at night. What's your latest time?
We should do it tonight. And
what is your latest time to go to sleep, like for the session?
I think 15 or 16 Zulu. I didn't get a lot of sleep yesterday, and I should make up for that.
So you think 15, 16 Zulu? Okay, I will see about that later. Do it at 15 or 16 Zulu. I'm gonna.
Hey, I can climb to flight level 350 right now.
You forgot the step climb? It happens a lot.
No, I didn't forget it. The step climb is later than when the max level reaches flight level 350.
Yeah, I understand.
I can climb to flight level 350 right now.
The wind's better?
Yeah, the winds is... Well, it's...
Yeah.
It's actually like crosswind right now, not necessarily tailwind.
Yeah, because you are reaching the central part of the North Atlantic.
However, if I climb to higher altitudes, the fuel flow will be less anyways. So it's always beneficial.
There's this dip in the jet stream.
Yeah.
At the center of the...
I think if you fly from Miami, you can actually make use of that.
But later, you're gonna catch up on the jet stream again.
Yeah.
Just FYI, the Scottish country is still online.
Okay, then maybe I can. Maybe
you have a chance. Yeah, maybe you can even PM him. Maybe you can even PM him and let him know. Just stay a little longer for me.
I was planning for flying from San Francisco to that airport in Sweden, but then I got the notification from SOC that this aircraft can only fly up to 2,950 nautical miles, and I had to ditch that.
It's a dumbass Chinese system.
But later I also discovered that the scenery in Kiruna in Sweden the scenery is corrupt.
Kiruna?
Yeah, Kiruna.
Kiruna. That's a nice airport. Is that an ORBX scenery?
Yeah, But the bicycle scenery was for prepared version 5, and it didn't work on
let's
version
not
4.
let's not let's not let's not. Okay. Just sorry. Apologize.
It didn't work on version 4, and I had to uninstall it. But then I discovered that the Minsk airport was a perfect airport just in the middle. I mean, the distance from St. John's to Mumbai was about twice of 2950 nautical miles.
Okay, so then you're gonna fly to Mumbai. Is that gonna cross Afghanistan?
Yeah, I'm going to cross Afghanistan, but I don't think it's an issue.
You can't detour. You can't detour. It's not like you have enough range. You can't detour.
I mean, the fuel will be a limiting factor. If I load the aircraft to an extent. The limiting factor is still the maximum takeoff weight. I mean, it's not limited by the runway, it's limited by the aircraft itself.
Yeah, it's limited by climb, just like in Denver. It was limited by climb. The climb limit weight.
It's not necessarily. It's more limited by the aircraft structure, the structural maximum takeoff weight.
Yeah.
My flights are always limited
by that.
It
has something to do. Yeah, so it gotta have something to do with the climb rate, the climb rate when you leave the ground.
Also, I checked that what was I going to say? Yeah. The maximum range in SOC for a 787-9 is 7,650 nautical miles, which is
as I said,
which is slightly longer than the Colombo to Seattle route, so I can fly that route with SOC.
Just let me get this out straight. SOC, these limitations imposed by SOC, they're just dumbass. Quote me on that.
I think they did that to prevent cheating, because people used to modify the aircraft files and make the fuel tanks very big, so they can fly narrow-body aircrafts. For example, they can fly London to Sydney with an 737, and the profit margin is very big, because the fuel flow is less on narrow-body aircraft. They used to cheat like that, but so to prevent cheating, they implemented the limitation.
To prevent cheating, and also to just happen to get more money out of people buying more aircrafts.
Yeah, I think that's what they.
We do overfly after we get into Scotland. You do overfly Prestwick, right?
Yeah, and we are flying from Colombo on Saturday, right? The 1st of August.
Saturday, 1st of August.
Okay, I'm going to plan that flight in SOC right now.
Yeah, you're gonna plan the flight. Is that the case that if you plan the flight early, there's gonna be more passengers?
Yeah.
This is 787.
Yeah.
I
just planned the flight, and there are 174 passengers flying from Colombo to Seattle.
It could get more.
I could get more, but yeah. I mean,
I would imagine.
if I planned it 1 day earlier, it will probably be 200 and more. But I couldn't
It's
fly
really weird.
that long a range with so many passengers, anyways.
You can't. Next time, try 777.
Now I only fly the 777 on the freight routes, short freight routes.
That's really weird because I can take 200 plus passengers, no problem. Plus passengers on that route.
Well, I
Yeah.
can bring more passengers, but I'll have to ditch the cargo on the 787. I can bring 300
50
passengers, but I'll have to bring less cargo. The cargo is more profitable nowadays.
you can decide the weight yourself.
Yeah, I can decide the weight of the cargo.
That's really weird. Yeah. Do they have
The
to impose a baggage weight?
The passenger is fixed. A passenger with their baggage, that weight is fixed, but you can add more weight for cargo.
So that weight would be passenger plus baggage, like it's gonna be like 240 pounds, not instead of 180 pounds.
Yeah, I think it's 200 for the 787.
But for the 777, the passenger
777
weight is
185.
195. 195 for
That's
passenger.
the figure in PMDG, but
PMDG.
not in
Yeah,
SOC.
that's
The
right.
SOC,
Yeah,
I
but
think it was 185, and on the 737 it was 175.
I'm trying to say that maybe that because it does not include the baggage weight.
Well, maybe
50 pounds. Could weigh 50 pounds. Actually, could weigh 100. On this kind of route, every passenger allowed 2 carry-on luggage. You need to take into account that some passenger only bring 1 carry-on only bring 1 check luggage and 1 carry-on luggage. You could have 2 check luggage totaling 100 pounds. That's the maximum. Or maybe you have only 1 check luggage. That's 50 pounds, but passenger could bring carry-on luggage. And the first class passengers, they can bring a lot of baggages, like more than 100 pounds.
When will
So you
the
can only get an
sunrise
estimate.
come?
Soon. Actually, not very soon.
Yeah, I think
Maybe you need to wait when you land because it's really not that high latitude. Is it
Yeah,
high latitude
but
though?
I do not like flying
Do you-
in
do
the
you have-
dark.
Do you have any illumination on the horizon? Any illumination?
Not yet. Actually,
Maybe it's-
I think
Yeah, too low latitude.
maybe when I reach Denmark, I will see the sunrise. But I mean, it's the northern hemisphere and it's summer, so I should be able to
Maybe
land in
the latitude.
daylight.
Maybe the latitude is just not that high enough. If the latitude is high enough, we can have daylight throughout the flight.
Yeah, the latitude is not high at all. The
What is
the highest latitude we're going to encounter is in Scotland, Scottish airspace.
Yeah, that's
this
not a
flight.
good sign. That's not a good sign. Not a good sign. Scotland is not that high latitude. Compare that to our flight in the Bering Sea. I think the high latitude is gonna be actually it's not that high as well. It's only just over 50.
It just crossed my mind that I maybe do not have enough time to. Well, I mean, after flying from Mumbai to Greece, it'll be Saturday. And
Yeah, maybe we ditch the Greek flight.
I mean, maybe we shouldn't ditch it, but I won't have time to fly the 787 from Bangkok to Colombo. Well, maybe I will have time.
Just move the aircraft.
It's also an option.
How many yuan?
I think
How many?
maybe 3. I can ditch SOC for the 787 route.
Yeah, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's
Yeah,
not
maybe
worth
it's
it.
not worth it.
You say from Bangkok to Colombo, it's like a really easy route. It's 1 hour wait from the start to the end. From the start to the
I
end,
think
maybe
I
you
can
can
make
even.
it work though. I can make it work. After
Maybe you can.
after I come back from the grocery store, I can fly from
Yeah.
Bangkok to Colombo in the
Yes.
787, and
Yes, it's pretty.
tomorrow, I can fly from Minsk to Mumbai, and we're all set. I think it's manageable. I mean,
Yeah, that route was like really easy, straightforward. Passed it through Port Blair. You know Port Blair.
yeah, I flew to Port Blair once in an MD-11.
Scottish still online. Let's see what's keeping Scottish online. What's keeping Scottish online? Because you need to know, try to understand when is the Scottish gonna be offline, right?
Hey, did you change the title of the YouTube stream?
Yeah, I did change.
Okay, very good. I'm starting to like the 737.
Same thing. I'm taking a look at Scottish airspace. We're trying to understand when is it gonna be offline, right? Because now, from what I can see, there's no aircraft there.
Maybe he's just trying to
to complete certification or something.
Maybe he's just trying to get more hours out of it.
Yeah. Now there's this Lufthansa aircraft, Lufthansa 4.5 Whiskey, is approaching Newcastle, which I suppose is under Scottish control. If this Lufthansa aircraft lands, then he signs off. Then we know it. He's not gonna stay. But if the Lufthansa aircraft lands and he stays, and maybe there's a good change, he's gonna be there when you arrive as well.
Yeah, I think so. There is an interesting phenomena that some European carriers, their call sign is different from their flight number. Have you ever noticed that? I mean, like for British Airways, I once heard a British
You mean shuttle?
I mean British Airways flight, for example, flight 268. The flight number is I mean, in theory it should be called Speedbird 268 in the call sign, but instead it's called something like Speedbird 9 Bravo Whiskey or something like that.
Yeah, it's something weird. But
do you know the rules behind that?
I don't really understand I don't really understand how the European domestic airlines they operate, but there's like a huge crowd of Europeans VATSIM simulating these domestic flights. Every day they are flying. So
but
maybe
I don't
if you
know
ask
I don't
in the
know
forum,
how to assign those
yeah,
letters.
yeah, maybe you ask them in the forum. Maybe they can answer you because I'm sure they know.
Maybe they just
Otherwise,
assign random letters to the numbers.
I don't think they're gonna assign random letters. There must be something behind it. If you post something on the forum, I'm sure they can answer. That's basically it.
Yeah,
And what you can't believe is that now the anchorage is offline for only 1 hour. That's why we can't get any ATC during our Pacific crossing. If they're only online for 1 hour, then we surely gonna miss it. Anchorage. How could you only be online for 1 hour? Basic cause of why there is so many short haul on VATSIM and so little long haul. It's because the concentration of the air traffic controllers is not balanced. That's what I'm trying to change with these events of us. And unfortunately, Scottish control is now offline.
Okay, fair enough.
It's now offline. Oh my god. They didn't even wait for the Lufthansa aircraft to land. Maybe they gave the aircraft
I
landing permit.
enlarged the overlay. Can you see it?
Let me check. Let me.
Hey, the cosine is not correct. The cosine is...
It's called what? The Twitch. Oh, was there any audience?
I don't think there's any audience.
You enlarged.
No audience.
Yeah, you just enlarged. No audience. That's so funny. Oh my god.
Sometimes there will be audience. I mean, the time and the day of week currently is not good.
Yeah,
on
but
Saturday there will
but,
be audience.
but,
I mean, we gained all of
but,
our
but,
4 subscribers on Saturday.
there is also gonna be like there's also gonna be like
Hello? Hello?
Did you just disconnect?
Yeah, I think so.
So the plan is that we're gonna do the route discussion tonight, which is like morning for American and for European guys.
Could you please plan? Yeah, I think I'll do the planning myself. There are 2 flights to plan. Bangkok to Colombo and Minsk to Mumbai.
Yeah, if it's just airways, then yeah, you don't need me.
Maybe.
But involves European airspace, directs or oceanic. Also, I'm really just too busy.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, did you see that worksheet? The worksheet regarding the ATC contacts.
Wait a minute. I'm planning the Bangkok to Colombo route. Papa 762
Right.
S Pop. Okay, that's one done, I guess. That's one of them done, and I'm going to do the other one. I mean, you're right. It's very simple to plan these kind of routes. It's just 1 airway or 2 airways to the end.
Yeah, I guess this route is for Maldives. That's what I guess. I guess it's really easy to imagine that there's no this single airway does not exist. It's really easy to imagine, but it does exist. I think it's to facilitate the flights to Maldives, like from Hong Kong to Maldives. I think.
Actually, Maldives doesn't have a lot of flights to East Asia, or or South Asia to be. I mean,
But Maldives,
no, Maldives is a Muslim country. The majority of the flights are going to the Arabian Peninsula and the Middle East.
oh, but it's also a tourist destination. I would imagine there are
It is a
kind of a
tourist
lot of Chinese
destination,
flights.
but the majority of the flights are all going to the Arabian Peninsula.
Uh-huh.
I mean, there are Emirates, 777s or A380s flying regularly to Mali, but
Taking a look now.
they are not
Taking a look now.
regular flights from Southeast Asia and East Asia to Maldives. They are only like
Taking a look now.
once per week, or charters, but
possible.
no daily scheduled flights.
I see Hong Kong. I see Shanghai, Singapore, Bangkok, Chengdu. That's it. The Chengdu one
No,
was
they
seasonal,
are that's weekly flights, not daily flights.
but scheduled.
Yeah, they can
Yeah.
be scheduled, but still
Yeah,
not
yeah.
not.
I can imagine most of these flights being not daily, or a lot of these flights being weekly, because that airport just not does not have a lot of capacity.
Yeah.
Do five
I
minutes,
they
one landing, one takeoff.
I heard that they are expanding the airport.
They are constructing a taxiway.
Or maybe
Yes.
a parallel runway, but I do not see why a parallel runway would be needed. I think it's a taxiway.
Yeah, I mean, a parallel runway would make no sense if you have no taxiway,
Yeah. Hey, could you
because there is no taxiway in the
could you
first place.
plan
The ramp is not kind of big.
could you plan
Also, this whole country is going to be underwater soon.
Yeah, but some people say it's a scam.
I say it's a scam. Like Donald Trump also says COVID-19 is a scam. So, what could you say?
But they used to say that Maldives will be underwater before 2020, but it's not.
Parts of it is already underwater.
Parts of it,
If there's a
alright.
storm, if there's a storm surge or stuff like that, then it's gonna be underwater. And also, part of it is starting to become submerged. Yeah, it's a process. It's a slow process, but it can be
I'm
measured.
planning the flights. I'm planning the flights from Minsk to Mumbai, and I see that there are some very favorable winds in Central Asia. I mean, but
Mhm.
I'm currently using the routes that are automatically.
You're gonna go through Caucasus, right? You're gonna go through the Caucasus. Is that correct?
No, I'm going to bypass the Caucasus. I'm going to go past the Black Sea, though. Another Black Sea. I think that's the other sea. What Caspian Sea.
The Caspian Sea. Is that too east for you?
I mean
Just
the Baku Sea. The sea that's Baku
yeah, that's
is
the Caspian Sea.
that's the Caspian Sea.
That's the Caspian Sea. Yes, that's the
I'm
Caspian
going
Sea.
through the
Yeah,
Caspian Sea.
yeah,
You
but
can
I
check the
really
personal message. Check the personal message on.
I checked it, but have you tried the route going through the Caucasus? Because if you fly to New Delhi, I would imagine you go through the Caspian Sea, but Mumbai is more to the south.
No, but the Great Circle is going through the Caspian Sea.
Enough. if you think that's good.
You can check the personal message. I sent you a message.
Yeah, I checked you. I checked it.
By the
Also,
way,
main
by
is
the way,
favorable.
do you think that when departing Minsk, flying a little bit to the east will be beneficial?
Flying a little bit to the east. You mean flying a little bit to the east?
You can check the sky vector. You can check this flight on sky vector.
Yeah, I'm checking. I don't think you really need to fly very east, because if you fly very east, you're gonna enter Moscow airspace, right? You need
Yeah,
to, because
yeah.
I only see one major eastbound gates for Belarusia.
But I can
It's the
fly. I can
Bugor
fly.
waypoint.
I can fly a lot to the east, and I will be able to make use of the jet stream more.
Do you want to try to use the Bugor waypoint
Oh,
on the east
where
side
is
of
that?
Minsk?
Where is that?
Bugor, it's just the direction you set, more to the north, more to the north.
I
It's on
mean,
the
perhaps the
Minsk.
time will be shorter.
Yeah, I mean on the Minsk Moscow FIR border, the Bugor waypoint is the next waypoint you can try if you want to fly north. But I don't think it's gonna be really good. Like if you fly Bugor waypoint, I think you're gonna tend at the TE and DB. You fly Bugor and you fly G724 and you turn at the PT and DB L189,
Yeah,
and you
I'm
proceed
seeing
onto
that.
the Caspian Sea.
I think it's maybe it's all right. So first you go through the TE and DB. After that,
TNV then November 39.
November 39,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah,
you can make
this
a
airways one way.
make a turn at I don't know how to
Problem is
pronounce
that
that.
this Tango 639 is one way. That's bad.
You can continue on November 39 though.
Yeah, you can continue on November 39 though the
To
more
Syria Tango
straightforward
NDB and through the Syria Tango NTB.
to Volgograd, or as it was previously and more famously known as
Stalingrad.
Bingo. And then you proceed on the Caspian Sea.
Maybe I'll stick to the shortest route.
The east route is not gonna be more favorable in terms of winds.
It's going to be more favorable in terms of winds, but it's also longer. And the wind may change. But if you check that on SkyVector, the wind is very accurate. Right?
I check SkyVector the wind. You need to select the altitude and the time. It's pretty accurate if it's a short-term forecast.
You
I
can
think it
see
uses
flight
the
level
GFS data.
350 and Mach point 80. I will paste the route for you. Please check the personal message. I got a hey, Gander is online.
Wow.
Gander,
It's Gander. Have you left your airspace? Have you left your
but
airspace?
I think I'm leaving Gander airspace.
You can leave Gander at the 30 north waypoint.
30 north.
Have you reached 30 north? Yeah.
I'm only
5 to
20
30
nautical
knots.
miles to 30 north.
Just checking with them. Say hello, goodbye. Report. You actually can do a position report. Still got time to do a position report.
Okay. (52) 30 north. Mach decimal 79er. Flight level 350. Estimated 5320 north. At.
Are you on voice?
No, I'm
You on
typing. I'm
voice?
typing it for a note.
Okay, that's good thinking. Muted the yeah.
0251 Zulu. And the next waypoint is Malot.
What's your radio?
Gander Radio United 2108 position report.
United 2108, Gander Radio, pass your message.
Gander Radio United 2108, currently at 5230 north, at 0252 Zulu, Mach point 79er, flight level 350, estimated 5320 north at 0339 Zulu, and Malot next.
Gander Radio copies. Position 52 north, 30 west at 0252 Zulu, flight level 350, Mach 79er. Estimating 53 north, 20 west at 0359er Zulu, Mallet thereafter.
Read back correct. Okay, I think I have finished the position report.
Yeah, and you're leaving. You're entering Shanwick now.
But maybe he'll cover Shanwick.
Maybe?
Let me ask.
That's maybe really out of bound for him. Kinda.
Shanwick Radio United 2108. Do you cover correction? Gander Radio. Do you cover Shanwick airspace as well?
Yes, I'll be covering both Shanwick and Gander.
Okay, thank you. He said that he will be covering Shanwick.
Wow, that is something new. I should have known that.
It's not exactly new. I mean,
yeah, I should have known that. You know, when I updated my Best Buy, it used to show that that Gander, when Gander is online, Shanwick is also online.
Yeah, but anyways, he'll be covering Shanwick, so I guess that's good news.
That's good news. And I guess it's also not totally unmanageable because the airspace is not that big. Because if you fly eastbound, you can clear Gander in 1 hour and clear Shanwick in about another hour. So it really not like a huge airspace. If they can cover the entirety of the Oakland Oceanic, then Gander Shanwick should be no problem as well.
Yeah.
By the way, but just as the southern tip of Greenland, was also covered by Gander. That's why our flight goes through Gander. Our flight goes through Gander because over the south tip of Greenland. Some people does not know this, but they should know. But unfortunately, when they got online last Saturday or Friday night, we were already into Reykjavik. We were already into Reykjavik airspace.
Okay.
Yeah, but they did ask for ATC. You know, I just got into their Discord, and in Discord you can see the previous messages.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're saying this.
Anyways, have you figured out the Minsk to Mumbai route yet?
Minsk Mumbai route. You said you're gonna take that route instead of making any amendments, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe you can check the easterly routes.
I'm not sure. I think it's pretty easy if you can just drag the route and take a quick look. But
Yeah,
if you already
I
took
think
it,
I can do that. Thanks though.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, the PFPX also has a function that it can do wind optimizations by itself.
It can do. Also, I'm kind of not very confident.
Hey, I just did it. I just used that function. You can check that. I'm going to send it to you now.
Because it's really, I'm not that sure about that.
You can see
Because
the
maybe
difference. You can see the difference between these routes.
I can see the difference, but the thing is that is it really the best? That's the question. I mean, I won't be too confident using it unless it's oceanic. And it's all waypoint, all random routings, and maybe I'm gonna be more confident using.
My internet connection is not very good, so I cannot use SkyVector efficiently. Can you just can you input these two routes in SkyVector and check the time, please?
Yeah. I think I can do that. Do you have your departure time and flight level for me?
Departure time would be still 01 Zulu and flight level 350, Mach 0.79.
0 and Zulu, but tomorrow?
01 Zulu tomorrow.
0 and Zulu tomorrow, which is... Wait a second, is it 31 or 30? 31st or 30th?
Yeah, 31st.
31st, yeah. For me, I'm still at 29, you know. I'm still at 29th of July.
Yeah.
I'm still at 29th of July. It's gonna take 1 hour before we get to 30th. But you're gonna fly at 31st.
Yeah.
350?
Mostly at 350. Initially, I would be at 330, but I would climb to 350.
The first route takes 6 hours 02 minutes.
That's quite similar to the what was it? St. John's to Minsk.
The second takes 6 hours 01 minutes.
So it's not very big of a difference.
This kind of stuff always happens.
And the distance between them?
The 01 minutes is 3,035 nautical miles, and the first one, the 02 minutes one, is 3,028 nautical miles.
So the difference is how much?
6. I'm not sure you didn't copy these numbers.
Yeah, I didn't copy.
It was really really small difference. This always happens. It always happens.
The second route, so the second route is 6 nautical miles longer and it's 1 minute less.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay.
You know, that's what I have came to understand. Like, these alternative routing option really does not help. Shortcuts. If you cut shortcuts, like, if you can obviously see that you are cutting a shortcut, then it's gonna be good. But those alternative routing options,
the airspace that it goes through are almost identical.
Whoa! You cannot use the first route. You cannot use the first route. The first route goes through East Ukraine.
And what's wrong about that? Hello? 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 Radio check? Radio check? Radio check, radio check. Radio check?
Wait.
Radio check?
Stereo 5.
5. Okay.
What was that?
Where were we? Where were we?
I think I got cut off. I was saying you cannot use the first route. You cannot use the first route. It goes through eastern Ukraine.
And what's the matter with that?
Well, obviously, if you don't want to end up like Malaysian 17.
But do they still are they still in war now?
They're still in war now, and there's no airway. If they're not in war anymore, the airway should be reinstated, and the no-fly zone, like the restricted area, should be cleared. But if you see Sky Vector, there's still no airway. Is there airway is there airway on your software? Airway on PFPX? I don't think there's airway either.
Okay.
There's no airway on Sky Vector.
I think I'll choose the second route.
Yeah, the East Ukraine is just not advisable. Anyway,
East Ukraine is how do you define East Ukraine? East of the river is all East Ukraine?
Defining the area which is now controlled by Russia and backed militia. That's how you define it politically, but we can also define the East Ukraine in this context by saying that the no-fly zone, like the area without any airway, you can call it East Ukraine. The area without any airway.
But there is airway in PFPX.
That's really weird. I mean, you can call the Crimea as East Ukraine as well under this criteria because it also has no airway. But there's no airway of Sky Vector, which is supposedly more real world. PFPX maybe, I don't know.
But if it
there's no airway.
If it is in PFPX, it should be in Navigraph.
Yeah, it should be in Navigraph, but it's really not in Sky Vector.
Navigraph is not very accurate. I mean, some departure frequencies, departure procedures. When I was in Afghanistan, there should be a right turn direct, but it was a left turn direct in Navigraph. And also in Newark, it should be left turn heading 290. It
Yeah,
gave
yeah,
me,
yeah.
gave me a right turn
You
heading.
don't. Yeah, you don't even have to mention all the errors with the altitude and speed restrictions. You need to
Yeah,
check these numbers.
I didn't bother changing it because when I update the Navigraph cycle, it will change itself back. So I just use
Yeah, I changed it.
heading select. I just
At least for the those approach procedures, always change the altitude and speed restriction because it messes up with your descent profile.
yeah.
You don't want to get too high.
Yeah, so we cannot pass East Ukraine.
Yeah, basically East Ukraine and Crimea is an area I will not plan over. It's because it's really easy to avoid. It's not really like
There are still flights to Crimea, and it's quite popular tourist destination, right?
only for Russians. Only for Russia.
Only for Russia.
Only for Russia because it's just after it's being annexed by Russia. After it's being annexed by Russia, only Russian flights are there. Because now, if you fly to Crimea, if you go to Crimea from anywhere without Ukraine passport, then they're gonna sanction you.
What about other countries? Hey, why aren't there any airports in Crimea? They're not visible in PFPX.
The data, I think, is not visible. I think the data got deleted, just like the airways. They all got deleted because the international community does not recognize Russia's annexation of Crimea, so they kind of deleted like airports and stuff. It's just a bunch of no-fly zone.
So it's just only Russian flights go to Crimea right now.
Yeah. That's why I think only Russian flights.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, and for the if you go there without Ukrainian visa, if you go there without Ukrainian visas, then it's gonna be a subject for sanctions.
Without Ukrainian visa.
Without Ukrainian visa, yeah.
But
I
thought but I it's annexed by Russia. So why do you need an Ukrainian visa?
Because Ukraine still recognizes this territory still recognized as part of Ukraine. So,
but if you go there, you will be checked by Russian customs. So
that's correct. Yeah, that's correct. So the Ukrainians, they can only sanction you if they know it.
Oh,
it's like the same thing with same thing with Israel. Like the same thing with Israel.
If I go to Crimea, how could Ukraine sanction me if I don't go to Ukraine?
Yeah, that's also true. They can't sanction you if you don't go to Ukraine.
Yeah. If I don't go to Ukraine, they can't do anything about it.
They basically can't do anything. Unless maybe you want to do business with Ukraine, but if you have no business to do with Ukraine ever, then of course you don't have to worry about it.
So now only Russian flights go to Ukraine.
Yeah, I
mean Crimea.
Yeah, I'm certain of that. Like most of the airways over the Crimea is closed. Like you cannot even overfly there. During those airways over the Black Sea, they're gonna be competing air traffic control center trying to contact with you. Ukraine says you should contact with Ukraine. Russia just said you should contact with Russia. So you don't even know which one you should contact. The basic idea is that if you fly from Ukraine to the west, passing the airspace, then the rule of thumb, I guess, is just gonna be contact Ukraine air traffic control. You remember last time cross the land event, there was no ADC over Ukraine.
Yeah.
So, can it possible this is caused by this?
Oh, okay.
Because there was ADC over Russia. There's ADC over Russia. If they want to avoid conflict.
I mean, isn't Ukraine controlled by Russia in VATSIM?
Ukraine is not controlled by Russia in VATSIM.
But Belarus is
Ukraine, Ukraine,
and
yeah.
I think
Yeah, it's just like real world.
Tajikistan,
Yeah,
Azerbaijan,
it's just like real world.
they're all controlled by
It's
VATSIM.
just like the real world. Just like the real world. Belarus is it's very close politically to Russia. Ukraine is politically close to Europe, like the Baltic countries. By the way, the situation with Crimea is just like the situation with Israel, right? If
So
you have
the Israel is so Israel is not recognized by Arabian countries.
Yeah, it's not recognized by a lot of Arabian countries. At least it used to be this way. If you have a stamp, a Israel entry stamp on your passport, then the Arabian countries, a lot of them is gonna deny your entry.
So there are no flights from United Arab Emirates to Tel Aviv.
Yes, I think so.
No flights from
Dubai
to Tel Aviv.
You take a check. I think it might be the case.
Yeah, perhaps
it might
is
be the case.
They closed their airspace to Israel. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's also correct. You see that airway discontinuity at the Israel-Jordan border, right?
Then how can Israeli flights go to East Asia? Is that why they aren't any flights to East Asia?
I don't know. It could be possible because there could be no flight allowed.
If they can fly to East Asia freely, it will be a great transition location.
Yeah, it would be a good transfer location.
I think that's why there aren't any flights going to East Asia or South Asia.
Could very well be the case, because South Asia is already also very predominantly Muslim,
Yeah, but
so what basically happens is at least
does Egypt close its airspace to Israel?
I think maybe not Egypt, because what I heard, Egypt and Israel are not that bad in terms of relationship.
But Egypt is also a Muslim country.
Yeah, but I mean, it was, I just don't know why, but kind of better relationship. Like Israel's relationship with Jordan is also not that bad, because Jordan has a liberal king. That's what they call.
Maybe they fought a war, and that's why they. Yeah.
So basically, Israel, Jordan, and Egypt, they're pretty kind of good.
What about Lebanon and Syria?
But they're bad with Syria. They're gonna be very bad with Syria and also with Iran.
What about
Lebanon?
Lebanon?
Very bad with Syria. Lebanon, I don't know. Lebanon is not a very Muslim like the other countries. Lebanon is also partly Coptic Christian. Coptic Christian. That's the same with Israel. If you have a stamp, some of the Arabian, at least some of these countries, gonna deny your entry. So what happens? At least earlier, the United States government issues the U.S. citizens 2 passports, so they can use 1 passport to enter Israel, other passport to enter Arabian countries.
Okay. And Trump recognized Israel in 2017. Is that correct?
United States always recognized Israel. Trump just said, I think Trump recognized Jerusalem, which is supposed to be an international city, as a city wholly owned by Israel.
Oh. How is Palestine right now?
Palestine is the people who originally lived in this area, formed by the people who originally lived this area.
I hear that
when Israel was founded,
the United Nations were planning to build the Jewish nation in South America, in the unpopulated areas in Argentina.
Yeah, but they just chose this Middle Eastern part.
If they choose the Middle Eastern world, it's bound to be very messy. I don't see.
Yeah, it's bound to be very messy, but I don't see why they won't choose South America.
South America, well, there are parts that are very sparsely populated in
That's what
Argentina.
I see as well. That's what I see as well. Maybe in Argentina, in the Patagonia, but they just
They
see
can
why
they can also go to Canada, northern Canada.
Northern Canada would be too bad for them because
But southern Argentina is equally as bad.
Northern Canada is worse. There are tundra and completely frozen nowhere. The southern Argentina is kind of better.
What about Western Australia? I mean, after World War II, it
But maybe they don't want to do it because the Western Australia is white. It's British.
it's British.
They want to do. Yeah, Western Australia is
British didn't want them there.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah,
That's the way.
maybe.
Like British was giving away their Middle Eastern colonies when they allowed Israel to be founded there, but they don't want to give away Australian colony.
Australia was kind of independent after the
Yeah,
war.
kind of independent. Kind of independent.
And they did so maybe they didn't want the Jewish people there.
Yeah, like for Israel, it's really small land, very small.
Well,
And
I think they can also go to Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka,
Sri Lanka
But
was a
is it-
British colony at that time.
but there were people, Sri Lankan people in Sri Lanka.
But there are also Palestinian people in Palestine.
Yeah. So that's a big problem. You can't really. Yeah, that's one of
the British
irony.
colonies. They also I think they also had colonies in Africa.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
there would be places in Africa that are not very much
Yeah.
populated that they can.
I think Africa is actually pretty much popular. Basically, you move them anywhere, you're gonna have conflict with the local people. I think I don't want this to get too controversial on Twitch here or YouTube. I think it's really gonna get very controversial because here it's basically you have two competing arguments. The Israel people says that basically this land is our ancient land, and the local people says no, you can't. This is our land now. You cannot take away our land in the recent 100 year. So basically, I guess that's why they have to build their nation at the current position because their argument is that this is our ancient land, not just any empty land, because there's no empty land. So they can only say this is our ancient land. So we want to take this back. Yeah.
But why does the Western countries
Yeah,
support Israel
Basically,
instead
the
of
Western
the
countries
Arabian
support it
countries?
because the Israel, like the Jewish people, they have this presence in Western countries, but not the Arabian people. Yeah, what I'm saying now could get controversial on some platform, but I guess I'm saying it fair. I'm putting it quite fairly. Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
Like it could be argued that Jewish people, if it's a diaspora of a people, then Jewish people could strive to build these communities in all different countries in the world, and build those countries to be accepted to be.
In PFPX, the Tel Aviv airspace doesn't have airway connections to Cairo and Beirut. They only have connection to Nicosia. They don't have connections to Egypt and Lebanon.
Yeah, maybe that's just not basic directions.
Yeah, but I remember that they were flights.
The reason. Here's the reason. Here's the reason. I guess for Cairo they need a detour, but that's why they don't have the route on that direction. It's because there's this Gaza Strip. That's where the Gaza Strip and where the where the what do you call that? The what's that organization?
Sinai Peninsula?
The Gaza Strip. What's the organization that controls the Gaza Strip?
Well, I don't know about that.
Let me just check it. Look it up really quickly. It's the controlled by the Hamas. Yeah, Hamas. You know Hamas?
No, not really.
Hamas. It's just called Hamas. The Hamas is
I
controls.
have another question. Why is
Hamas controls the Gaza Strip?
Why is Western Sahara controlled by Canaries airspace?
Western Sahara, in real world, politically controlled by Morocco.
Yeah, but in terms of aviation, it's controlled by Canaries airspace.
Yeah, I guess that's basically because. Really? You choose Canary? I think it's actually Casablanca.
No.
Okay. You're right. It's Canaries. Maybe because they're close, and because there's really no way this territory is gonna have its own air traffic control center. So Canaries just does it for them.
I mean, maybe it's that Morocco couldn't control the airspace, at least couldn't sufficiently.
Yeah.
So they just give it to Spain.
Yeah, the Canaries is more rich. It's richer. They're Spain. They have better capability. Yeah, they have better capability. They're already a well capable airspace, well capable of FIR, because they have a lot of flights, vacation flights from Europe.
But
so they are very capable.
It will be very strange that you're landing in southern Morocco and you have to be transferred from a Spanish airspace.
Landing in southern Morocco, transferred to a Spanish.
I mean, it's kind of a local flight, from a domestic flight from Casablanca to
Western Sahara.
Yeah, and you have to be transferred from Canaries control to local approach.
It would be odd. Would be odd, but the world does not recognize that Western Sahara is a part of Morocco, but Morocco thinks West Sahara is a part of it.
Well, you mean
maybe
the Western world? I think
China does not recognize it either. China also says that Western Sahara is independent, actually without a government. It's a disputed territory. It's not a part of Morocco. In China, you see the map of Morocco. There's no Western Sahara. Actually, the domestic flights from Morocco to Western Sahara, they could maybe they just do not count the Canaries because